Welcome to Ciao Bella, hosted by me, Erica Firpo, a travel journalist based in Rome. Each episode of Ciao Bella, I sit down with Italy's creators, contemporary artists and artisans, designers, culinary experts, heritage brands, and innovative aesthetes, and more who are defining and redefining 21st century Italy. Pull up a chair and join in. Welcome back to Ciao Bella. This episode, I'm sharing a travel bite from Torino, Piemonte, in Italy's northwest. Joining me is Torino native Sandra Salerno, a journalist for La Cucina Italiana at Corriere della Sera, and she writes about food, travel, local farmers, and restaurants. And I met her when I didn't even know her name as Un Tocco di Zenzero, a touch of ginger. Ciao, Sandra.
Hi, ciao tutti.
How are you?
Fine, thanks. At home at the moment.
I'd love to ask you, I didn't even think about this. I'd love to ask you why you're a Tocco di Zenzero.
Okay, the name of my blog is about a film in 2003. And the movie is called Un Tocco di Zenzero. It's a very, very beautiful story about spice, travel, and memories of a family, a Greek family in Istanbul.
Oh, really? Now here, I was thinking it was going to be about food.
Quite food. It's on memories of family, travel, and the spice shop in the ancient Istanbul is very nice.
Oh, I can't wait. That's something that gives me something to do this weekend. I'm going to go find this film. Now, yeah. I'm really excited to speak with you because I had told you I wanted to talk with you. I know you love food. I know you're a great writer about food, and I wanted to talk to you about Torino, and you wanted to talk about chocolate. So can you give me a little history on chocolate and Torino?
Okay. The history of the chocolate in Turin start in 1560 when Emanuele Filiberto of Savoy decided to celebrate the transfer of the ducal capital from Chambéry to Turin. And the legend counts that he's serving to the city a cup of hot chocolate. And so we start to move with a new tradition in a very good and ancient ingredient. Since then, chocolate has become a delicacy not only in Turin but in all of Italy, and with many craftsmanships that creating a very good profession and master in chocolatier.
Now, it's funny, one of my favorite chocolate shops in Rome is called Mariondo e Gariglio, and they're actually a Piemontese family. So when the unification happened, Italy was unified and the capital became Rome, the family came with the whole monarchy family, and they opened a chocolate store in Rome, and they tell everybody that they're, a chocolatey Piemontese.
Mm-hmm.
And now, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
When it comes to hot chocolate, you mentioned hot chocolate. I love hot chocolate, and I love having hot chocolate in Italy. Can you explain what hot chocolate is like in Torino?
Okay, in the hot chocolate in Torino, we have a very good chocolate coffee that probably is the more ancient in all of Italy, not only in Turin. It's called Bicerin. You know Bicerin? You have a been?
I love Bicerin.
Okay. in Turin, Bicerin is working in 1763. Is one of the more ancient and is beneath the Santuario della Consolata. This historic cafe. They invented a very strange recipe that is called Bicerin, like the name of the coffee shop, and the recipe is in Italiano we say segreta, is a secret for the people because they never told us the recipe, the real recipe. So the legend is about hot chocolate with cocoa, cream, some spices. But they never say to us the original recipe.
Now, I know that I've been to places, I've had Bicerin. Is there cafe in Bicerin?
Yeah, the cafe. They born in Turin in 1763. They made also coffee, but the preferred recipe from the tourists and the local people is the Bicerin.
The Bicerin. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I've had Bicerin. I've been to the cafe, and I've been to I've had Bicerin. I've had different versions of Bicerin. I once even had a cold Bicerin, which I thought was delicious.
There are more bar in Turin that made Bicerin, but for them, for the original Bicerin, they made the only real Bicerin in Turin in Italy.
Wow. Now, there's something else that I've had from Torino that I love, but I only like it, at certain times, the Gianduiotti.
Okay.
Those little candies and those little chocolates. And I'd love for you to describe what Gianduja and Gianduiotti are.
Yes, allora, the Gianduja is an ancient recipe that the legend told to us that the producer of chocolate in Turin then don't have too much products. So a craftsman in this period tried to made a new recipe of a chocolate or chocolatino with 30% of hazelnut paste with cocoa and mix them together. And so born the Gianduja and Gianduiotto, because we have a problem with the English that block in English I don't mean hanno bloccato l'importazione, perché c'erano gli inglesi che bloccavano le importazioni. I don't remember the correct word.
The English block the import?
Yes. Ah. So this artisan had a new idea about a new product, and made the chocolatino with the chocolate with Gianduja. It's called Gianduja with the hazelnut paste and cocoa.
So it's like when I love it because they're so the Gianduiotti are so beautiful. So the Gianduja is like
Gianduja is a cream, yes.
It's like the spalmabile. It's like
yes,
the cream.
It's a sweet chocolate spread that contains about 30% of hazelnut paste inside. It's only chocolate and hazelnut paste.
Whereas the Gianduiotto, so that everyone can understand, is like a small chocolate.
Yes.
I don't even want to say candy. It's a chocolatino. It's a small chocolate.
Small chocolate, yes.
With hazelnut.
And born here in Turin because was invented by the family Caffarel Prochet. This here in Turin, they invented Gianduiotto. It's the same of the hazelnut paste, but in a small chocolatino.
And I should let everyone know it's covered in gold foil most of the time. I've always had it in gold foil. So they're supposed to look like little gold ingots.
Yes, it's correct.
And they're so beautiful. They're like one of my favorite gifts to give people because they're handmade and they're hand wrapped, and they're just these. If you like chocolate and hazelnut, this is far better than anything you'll ever have. Now, I'd love to ask you, what are your favorite places in Torino for chocolate confections and coffee? Where do you go?
Okay, we go for a coffee with chocolate. The first, one of the more ancient, is Strata in Piazza San Carlo. It's one more famous in Turin. It's born in 1836, and they made also a very good pastry, cake, and salty salatino. It's very good.
Ooh, sounds nice.
And the second place, and I love, is in Crocetta. A quartier is in the center of Turin. Is about Odilla Chocolat, and born in 2000, I think, by Gabriele Maiolani, is the inventor of Master Chocolate in Lyon. He studied about 8 years with a maître chocolatier in Lyon in 2000 years. And now he made between 112 fillings different in chocolate. This is very, very crazy because you can't choose.
So are these like chocolatini with little things in them? With
yes.
Different...
Yes.
What's your
filling
favorite?
with about It's like praline or with the fruit or liqueur about dark chocolate, white chocolate is different. It's very good. If you come back in Turin, I show you because it's very, very nice shop and very good products.
That sounds great.
And then the famous in the world, I think, is Guido Gobino that reinvented the chocolate in Turin, Italy, but not only there, because he think about a different recipe. His father is also a maître chocolatier in the 50 years. And they made a very good job in Turin and not only here because invented a new recipe and with modernity and with ganache. They called ganache da meditazione with sweet wine, Sauterno, Moscato. These are different. I think different volevo dirti modi differenti di degustazione in abbinamento al cioccolato.
Different ways of tasting with pairing with chocolate.
Yes.
Now, I have a question for you. Just a quick question about chocolate and like chocolatini and Piemonte or Torino. I know there's Gianduiotti. Are there other kinds? Is Cremolino? Is it called the Cremolino?
Cremino.
Is that also from Torino?
Different, yes. Yes, is a famous type of chocolate. In the 80s, 70s, 80s, they are made Cremino with hazelnut paste, white chocolate. It's different recipe about every chocolatier made his own recipe, but it's very famous here. In Turin, we have also Cremino Fiat. It's one of the most famous Cremino.
Oh, is that Cremino Fiat? Is that?
It's about a very ancient casa of maison of chocolat. It's called Maiani. They invented the original Cremino in 1911.
So the Cremino is 3 levels. It's 3 different.
Yes.
It's Gianduja.
Yes. Gianduja chocolate, white chocolate, and chocolate. Now it depends with hazelnut or almonds.
Ah, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
The Fiat is four different type of chocolate. They had not hazelnut, almonds. White chocolate and dark chocolate.
Now I know there's also, isn't there one with liquore? Is it the Boero?
Boero, yes. It's Boero. Is something like liqueur inside of the chocolate with ciliegia, is a cherry. Yes.
Yes, I've had that. Now, I have a question for you. What do you think it is about Turinesi that are so such chocolatey people?
The people?
Yes, it seems like you guys are
going. We love chocolate, yes. We love chocolate and we have too much shop for buy them and eat them because in the center of Turin, in Via Lagrange, Gobino had a shop, a very ancient shop about chocolate Cremino. He also made a very good ice cream with chocolate. In winter, we could have a cup of hot chocolate outside because they have a very beautiful and fancy decor. So we can take hot chocolate outside in December or in January.
You know, I should let everybody know, like, for me, is the hot chocolate, because, you know, in Rome, our hot chocolate is really thick and really, really chocolatey. And then you have the fresh panna on top.
Yes.
And in America, it's very milky. And in Torino, is the hot chocolate really chocolatey and thick as well, like almost like a syrup of chocolate?
Mm-hmm. Now, it is different because in Italy, also, if the product is very good, you could make a cup of chocolate without milk. Because is enough hot water a cup of hot water, and then you put inside the chocolate, and with the steam we could puoi sciogliere il cioccolato.
Oh, melt the chocolate, yeah.
Yes, and so we could made a cup of chocolate without milk. It's più digeribile.
It's more digestible. And, you know, I think what everybody needs to know is it's my fantasy. It's my favorite thing. I love Torino for many different reasons. There's incredible story there, but I love the chocolate in Torino, and because it's just everywhere. It's you know, it's like part of your DNA, and it makes me so happy.
We're born with chocolate.
Well, Sandra, I'd love for you to share with me where we can find you. I know where I can find you in Torino, but where you can share with my listeners how we can find you.
Okay, we could find me in Twitter, is Tocco di Zenzero, also with the same name on Instagram.
So it's TOCCODIZENZERO, correct?
Yes, correct.
And your website is Un Tocco di Zenzero.
Un Tocco di Zenzero, yes.
Is that .it or .com?
It's for the same, because I got the 3 point Europe, .it and .com.
Oh, perfect. So I'm going to be sharing all of Sandra's contact information in my show notes on my podcast. So when you go to my blog, you can find this episode, and you'll find all information about Sonia and some information about chocolate and about the chocolate places she mentioned. And I suggest everybody take a look at Sandra on Instagram and go to her website, because she doesn't realize it, but I spy on her a lot, and I see what she does, because I love how you talk about food.
And at the final, I want to tell you that if you come in Turin, or your follower come in Turin and want to have a chocolate tour, we could arrange one for you and for them.
You know what? I think that sounds like a perfect idea. And what I was going to say, I'd love to organize, and everybody's invited to do this, a chocolate tour, and then maybe talk about the magic of Torino. And I'm going to not tell anyone what that is, but I think that's also kind of fun to talk about too. And we'll save that for another conversation.
Okay, if you want, we made another.
We'll have another episode. I could have so many episodes on Torino. Well, thank you so much for joining me. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Ciao Bella. If you'd like to know more about today's guest, please visit ciaobella.co and click on the podcast link, or go directly to ciaobella.co/podcast. Want more Italy? You can find all my episodes on iTunes and Spotify and Stitcher. When you have time, subscribe to iTunes and rate the podcast. What are you waiting for? And if you want to be part of the podcast, email me or DM me your Italy questions. To learn more about me and my work, go to my website, ericafirpo.com, and follow my Italy adventures on Instagram at ericafirpo. Ciao, Bella! And a very big thank you and hug to Massimiliano Yonta and Disc to Disc Studios, the producers of Ciao Bella, who continue to make me sound and feel great.